Yeah, make sure you...
So just talking, yeah.
No, we're good. We're still going. I'm gonna... Someone wants to type something into the chat, please?
Yep,
Sorry. While George is doing some... Just stay out crap.
Testing.
There we go. Oh yeah, just with a little bit over. It should be good. Right, now I'm hearing me like... Wait, who's got it running? Like, George must have it. No, I don't have it running, do I? No, I've got no windows open, so it's not...
Oh, okay, hang on. It's probably coming through my mic. I'm just going to mute my mic.
Yeah, or mute your playback. Hello. I'm not wearing my glasses. I'm trying to read the text. Like, I can't read that. We have our first guest. Oh, that's worse. Like, damn. I got my tricky reading glasses that actually have split top and bottom, so I can read the monitor. It actually helps. There we go. You've got it already.
I'm kind of. I'm muted myself, so I'm going to hear myself echoing for a bit. But I feel as if the Teams call could come up a little bit.
Okay.
I'm back.
Let's work out which one's the team call. Could you guys say stuff so I can work out which channel it is?
Peter, Piper, Pictor, Pepper, something, P.
I guess that's audio output capture. Desktop audio is up at full, so I can lower the other ones.
It seems about right.
Oh wait, no, I've got my... Okay, no, I can up that. Teams up. I've got two lots of team. Oh, that's great. Thank you. I don't know which one's which. Try talking now.
Okay. Yep. I'll give you some words, some things to listen to. The only thing though, Steve, it's happening again. I don't know what it is. The OBS stream or something. You're peaking quite a bit, even though the audio levels are down. Like it's getting a fair bit of feedback or static on your voice, but it doesn't do it in Teams. It's only doing it in the stream. So I'm not sure if there's like, if you've got like a gain setting or something in OBS turned on, or there's something happening there.
Yeah, let's have a look. Michael said, I thought we turned that off, but what about filters? Gain is up. Let's drop that down. How about that?
Once you turn the gain down, then maybe you might need to turn yourself back up again in the level.
Okay, I've got gain down to no, what was it, 0. Let's put it 0 decibels. Alright, so that's gain turned down. I'm still going pretty loud there on mine. Is that...
Okay, yeah, at least you don't sound crackly anymore, so that's fixed that. But yeah, now you just need to bring your voice back up.
How about that? That sound better? I'm on full now. It's getting a little bit of red there I can see here, but not much. So it's...
Yeah, that's better. Much better.
Okay.
Much better though.
Look, as we go, just chime in and I might have to move the microphone closer here and there and do stuff like that. I've got it about...
I'd probably put the audio down just a bit, the game audio down a bit.
Yeah, that's easy. There we go. How's that?
Sounds right.
Let's just turn the music off. No one wants to hear the music. Hey, George. No, I want it on. I like it. That's not too... Oh, yeah, we can put it lower. As long as they can still hear it and hear us.
Well, okay, I can play along live with the acoustic guitar if you want.
No, we have to charge. We'll have to charge for that one.
Admission tickets and all.
Yeah, that's a pay-per-view. Okay.
All right. I'm gonna go. If we're happy to just kind of start from now, I suppose I can go and start posting it out onto socials that we're live and that.
Yeah, I'm gonna. George's gonna. I'll let George play music while I go get a drink, so some liquid refreshment while we put thing. And you do that stuff with the social stuff.
Yeah, brilliant. Hey George, yeah, chat's all yours, mate.
Okie dokie.
Wait, I don't think it's sharing the audio, George. It's like it stopped system audio because of an error.
So what's going on?
I don't know who gave me the error. It might have been... did I walk away? I was sharing. Hang on.
Was the guitar audible or not?
I heard it. I don't know if anyone else heard it out there, but it said it was an audio error. Hang on, I can hear it. You can't hear me. That's what's going on.
Well, I'm only listening through Teams. I'm not listening through the stream, so there's too much delay there.
Can you hear the game in Teams?
I can't hear any game audio right now.
Yeah, that's the error I just got. Okay.
Oh.
It's going to probably happen a few times and I'll have to stop and start. That's okay. Okay, content.
Your Teams is now in the...
What's it showing you? I can't even see when to turn it off.
Oh, no, it's okay. And Teams is showing Teams. The stream is just not showing.
Oh, great. That's not going to be helpful. So I want to turn on, include computer sound. I want to show a window. I want to show OBS. You should be seeing that now. Please tell me you're seeing it.
What am I seeing?
You should be seeing the OBS screen again.
Yep.
This is going to be fun. It's probably going to turn off and off, on and off. I just walked away for 5 seconds to get a drink, and it's like, oh, it's an error. Good. So you guys can hear me, Steve, and George is playing guitar in the background because an impromptu. I'm just going to do this mission while we're waiting.
If you have...
I hate having to do this one.
Here's a skill that... Well, look at... There's some... Here's something. See? Well done, man. I just got off the blower from Lake Barramanchi Refinery. They got a load of unstable dynamite that needs disposal. And guess what? They want you to do it.
Well, it's lucky they want me to do it. I'm an expert at disposing of, I'm an expert at disposing of dynamite. Take that.
G'day, son. Glad you could make it into me shop. I've got some butte boomerangs for sale today. Choose. You won't regret buying that one, son. Bye, son.
Are you going to go do a photo shoot with the camera ring?
No, I'm just grabbing it now so we can. I don't have to grab it later. I'm going to get some money. Notice this time I'm not playing the first level because I'm sick of it, and I'm not sure how the lag's going to go with the what's it called, thinking these levels. The mortar, the battle mortar. Words are hard today.
Words are hard every day. Let's be real.
Ain't that the truth?
You're going to miss my awesome acting in if you miss the first level.
Oh, we'll go back and play that for everyone else later on.
Wait, hold on a second. I'm learning something. Who do you play in the first level, George?
It's
well, we can leave it for the stream.
Yeah, we'll save it for later.
Alright.
We're not quite there.
We're not quite there yet.
I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Or strangely shocked. But he does a very good Fluffy.
Hello there, Ty. Hello, Ty.
So yeah, feel free to just get comfy, everybody. Grab yourselves a drink.
Some sort of snack.
We'll call the stream official in a few moments. We're just waiting. I've just sent out some notes to let everybody know that we're live. We'll let people come in and say hey, and then we'll
you can watch me just muck around for the first at least 4 minutes and something seconds and change.
So if you go up there somewhere, I think there's two characters side by side, and they're both John English.
Yeah, one would be. What would I end up calling him? I don't think he's Patch. He's the other guy. Which I don't think he actually has a name.
G'day, Ty.
So John English, I think he's passed away now, but he was a very famous Australian actor with an English accent. He used to play like rock stars in a sitcom or whatever. But he was doing a play, Panto or something. I think it was Dad's Army. And someone who worked for us, actually the assistant sound designer on this, knew him and convinced him to come and do a couple of voices for us for the promise of a steak dinner voucher.
He's an actor, after all.
He's an actor. And he didn't have his glasses, so when he was reading the script, he kept on saying, "Hey, TV," because Ty's written in capital letters for legal reasons.
Hello, Ty.
This is also running on the Xbox. I got it because we're streaming the Xbox today. So this is my Xbox Series X. S, not X. S. It's a very cute little box, I gotta say. Oh, Nolan North Nolan North is in TY2 as well. It was actually one of his first voice gigs. If you look at his credits, I actually remember listening to the casting stuff when we were trying to do Carlos. I was listening to all the auditions to try and work out who we'd get for him. And Nolan did this really good. He does great character voices. He's known for these pretty generic normal guy stuff, but his character stuff's great. He should be doing more of it. But
he was also in one of our later games, The Legend of the Guardians, The Owls of Gahul, the game of the movie, directed by Zack Snyder.
The musical, high school.
I think he's in that somewhere.
Probably was he in Jimmy Neutron at all as well? Was that before? That was before TY2, so no, probably not.
Yeah. I don't think. Tim Curry was in Jimmy Neutron.
Good day, Ty.
And Frank Welker, who does the voice of
Hello there,
Scooby-Doo.
Ty.
I met Frank Welker when we were doing the voices for Blake at the studios in LA, and he is Freddy. He looks, he's like an old Freddy exactly, and he was super nice. He comes in and says hello because Lane, the director, the voice directing for TY2HD, Blake, and he has worked with him on a pup named Scooby-Doo, so he knew him back then. He says, "Oh, come say hello to Steve." It's like, it's good to meet this guy who I grew up on Scooby-Doo as most of us did. I was like, "Oh, yeah, hello." It's like, oh my god, it's like he's Freddy. And then he does his he also does Transformers.
He does every animal. He's the voice of in Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. I think he's all the grunts that you hear on the planet as it's dying. That's Frank Welker, I think.
Yeah, he's pretty.
I could be wrong.
He's pretty amazing. It's fun when you get to meet some of the voice actors because they're pretty. It's just interesting there.
Good day, Ty.
It's just kind of cool.
Was Debbie May in this
Hello
one?
there, Ty.
Yes, Debbie is.
Hello, Ty.
Who was she in this one? We had her in everything.
Ty.
She was Sheila in Taiwan. And I think she has a. Oh, maybe she did do a voice in Tai too. But Sheila got cut early on, so we didn't have any of her stuff in there.
Hey, Ty.
Yeah, no, I don't think
Hi,
she's in this one, to be
Ty.
honest. She's Shazza in Tai 3. And
So the guy who's mumbling is Robert Butterworth. He's one of the artists who did a lot of the video work on these games.
who is also just around the corner here.
Hello, Ty.
That's not him.
No. You never know. He was versatile.
This is Robert.
This is so humiliating and hot. And I think this suit is full of fleas. But I need the money.
Oh.
I did 3 years at drama school for this?
He is the voice of... a lot of people really hated this sound effect from Taiwan when you killed Bull the Razorback. He's that horrible screeching sound. That's Rob Butterworth.
So it just shows how good he is.
G'day, Ty.
He's pretty good at that stuff. He's a technical artist. He's doing very well wherever he is. But
But he's also doing lots of drama-y stuff as well outside of that.
he was in a play when we were doing Spyro, I think.
Oh, it's 7:30. Are we going to start probably now?
Yeah, I think this is it. We're ready
We're
to
officially
go.
started.
Hey,
this is
we've
it.
been
We're on
going
the
for a while. This is quality material.
Yeah, we're on the clock. We're on the clock now.
Top shelf material here, guys.
I've got to fill up my hot tub slightly because I think that's how you do these days.
That's the meta. Yep, mate. You're on it. You're on it.
I can lick the microphone if anyone wants me.
Please don't. Yeah. Let's bounce from that. So, hey, welcome everybody in the chat. My name's Aaron. You'll probably see me bouncing around in the chat as well in text under Picaroon. I'm a game designer here at Chrome, and I'm also joined by both George and Steve. I'm not even going to attempt the surname. I'm just going to call you guys the Stam Brothers.
Super Stam Brothers.
Yeah, that'll do.
Super Stams.
It's me, Stevie. Oh.
Although, in saying that, and I'll let you guys introduce yourselves in just a moment, this kind of works for a question from the fans. How do you guys pronounce your surname? This comes from the Nitro Rad community, by the way, who's kind of reviewed Ty recently for us, or Ty 2. So he could say it. He tried.
If we tell you, then we lose all entertainment value for people trying to attempt our name.
Yeah, it's been 50 years of people not getting it. I have a friend who used to call me Steve Stam the Artist. I like that one. Get it, Stam the Artist? Stam Artist.
I picked up a nickname. I picked up a nickname from Andy Green, who was, I think, the producer on the first 2 Ty games of George of the Jingle, which I hated, but it was probably better than the alternatives.
George of the Jingle, friend to you and me. Yeah, I shouldn't sing, should I? I'll just say it to the Steve.
All good. It's all good. Okay, so yeah, let's do some intros then, so we can get underway. So, Steve, if you want to give yourself an intro, what's your deal, mate?
I'm a 1 million-year-old dinosaur, and I do drawing stuff with little furry rats and stuff. I think that was you. No, Steve Stamatiadis. That's the the one of acceptable pronunciations, if not the correct one, but that's what we go through. I'm a creative director at Chrome, which just means I make stuff up, mostly. Creative Ty, it's day 1, day 0. I'm stuck with this thing. And I'm jokingly saying that. Yeah, I draw stuff, I design stuff, I come up with silly boomerangs. Yeah, if it's dumb and weird, that's probably me. Yeah. George?
I'm George Stamatiadis. I'm Steve's brother, obviously.
He's the good-looking brother.
I'm the audio person behind most of Ty. Not the only sound designer who worked on Ty, but I did write all of the music, apart from one track on Ty 2, which was written by Wagner. Not to name drop.
But he's dead, so that doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's had his day.
We're probably going to get some other people joining us later on as they pop in, some of the other devs, so depending on when they're available. But we'll introduce them when they come. If they're not here already, I don't know if anyone is here actually.
Not yet, no. I'm sure they'll probably jump in a little bit later on. But yeah, so we're here playing Ty, the Tasmanian Tiger 2, Bush Rescue HD, which is launching tonight / today across the world. What have we got? Like 3, 4, 5 hours away. And so yeah, I guess like we're just gonna kick back. Feel free to, if you got any questions for George or Steve or anyone on the team when they drop in, feel free to drop them in the chat, and I'll try and get them through to them so they can just talk about the development of the game, any little tidbits you want to know about characters, all that sort of stuff. So yeah,
for the
feel free
Xbox launch.
For the Xbox launch, correct. This is the did I not mention it was for Xbox? Oh my lord.
Xbox.
This is the Xbox Series X. Coming to you live on Steve's.
Xbox.
If we just say Xbox a few more times, I'm sure we'll have it covered.
Xbox. Oh, we should
And
do
obviously,
X-Men.
we've already had like a bunch of our Kickstarters already playing the game, right? Like they've had access since like late last week.
Yes.
So there's a bunch of people on the leaderboards and everyone's doing their thing. I've seen some people have already 100% completed it, so that's nice.
Sorry, I'm going to get sidetracked playing. Oh, you think I get sick of this, but I know. I still get sucked into it. Sorry, I'm trying. It's a mission. Oh, I can do the jump. Yes. Take that, Dukes of Hazzard. There's nothing here for me yet.
So George, can we learn now about the character that you play in the first level of the game, or are we now still not there at that point?
Okay, so if you play when you start a new game of Ty 2, there's a bit about halfway through when just after you've gotten the battle bunyip.
Do we want to go there? I can do that.
Why don't you go there?
Here's one we prepared earlier. Exit level. Return to Baramanji.
So most of the actors in Ty 2 were US based, but we did do a few recordings at a studio of very, very minor characters here in Brisbane. So those would be the ones where I looked after the session at a studio just around the corner from us in Fortitude Valley. And that's where we had John English. That's where I did my character. But the version that we use in the game is actually the temp audio, not the version the performance I gave in the studio. So
here's a new thing too that we've added for this version, the HD remaster. It's the ability to replay, in this case, the first mission, because you could never play it originally after you finished it. Now you can come up to this map up the top here in the view tower, and you can replay that first level. You can also replay boss battles, which is a new feature. So you can play Patchy, Buster, and Fluffy after you've completed them. So you go back and redo those ones if you just feel like it.
Boss battles? How much would you expect to pay to replay boss battles?
But wait, there's more. This is a lovely intro. We'll watch it together.
Hold on, Ty. I know a shortcut.
I sure hope Ranger Ken got our message.
Oh my God, Ken's there. Oh, gee. Who'd have thought?
Speak of the Tasmanian devil.
Oh, that's funny because he's a Tasmanian devil.
I thought you said this was a shortcut.
Is he eating penguins?
Don't know. This is your dad giving you the rundown. Oh, that wouldn't have happened in real life. It's too far to fall. Oh,
Time,
that's
mate.
bad driving.
You took your time. The little country town of Currawong is under attack. What muck would want to do this?
The local security is in the thick of it. One of their mates is holed up at the old barracks.
Oh, it's a shocker out there. Frills have breached the Northern River. Sly, Shazza, I'm gonna need your help.
You can count on us.
If we follow this road, it'll take us up to the old barracks.
Oh, road. How
Okay,
convenient.
Let's go.
You know, you can actually now... You can read the front of the license plate on the 4B. HD textures.
Green sleeves on the ice cream van.
Yeah, the last stream we were talking about how in America you don't get green sleeves all the time. It's Turkey in the Straw is usually plays. I'm not going to use this rank because we don't want to take photos yet.
Yeah, we used valuable sound memory on PlayStation 2 to be able to have that all the time thing, and it would play randomly.
Yeah, here's a cunning plot puzzle that's slow you down so we can load the next part of the level.
That's the last of the frills, Possum.
But look, no loading screens.
Let's go.
That was a very big deal in 2004. Everything had to have no loading screens.
Well, they didn't have to, but we thought we had to do that. I'm glad we did, but it's a pain in the butt.
Look out! Get him, Eddie!
Let me at him.
You're
starting.
Wait, I'm going to take a photo because it will last longer. Oh, you press the share button. There you go. Eee. Or of course you can.
Ooh,
That's a very good placement of the rangs from Sly there as well. They're kind of acting like eyebrows a little bit.
They do, don't they? Oh, and then you got selfie mode. First person thing, and then right trigger. And then you can zoom around Ty, and you can give him some poses. I've had people ask, it'd be really cool to put the boomerangs in his hand. But the camerang is the boomerang. He can't be holding it and taking photos of himself. That's nuts. That doesn't work. But yeah,
so just for the people that may not necessarily know about this feature, do you want to go into some details about how the camerang came to be? Or
I do. I was just about to get to that. You're way too quick tonight, Aaron.
I'll step back. I'll let you.
No, it's, I'm just teasing. Yeah. So this boomerang, the camerang, was graciously supplied by the Kickstarter backers who as a stretch goal. So you can thank them for having 2 new boomerangs in Thai.
We have to get to the other side of the bridge.
One of them we get early on in the game.
Maybe you can use it to clear the
Just let you
depth
take screenshots and you can share them with the share button. It's not a great attack weapon, but it's basically for taking cool photos. And the other one is the crafty rang, which you get from Sly Shack later on. I don't know if we'll get to that. We'll see. Pause and go. And the battle bunyip. Out of my way, we've got to get to George's character.
Yes.
Out of my way, I'm a teacher.
We have to keep moving. The old barracks are just ahead.
I didn't know we could do that.
Possum. We have to make it to the old barracks. Not far to go
Here we go.
now.
Ready? Prepare thyselves.
here to help you, mate.
Don't worry about me. There's a battle mortar in the old barracks. It's the only thing that can defend the ground troops from those demon fluffies.
I'm there.
You little beauty!
See? And then we're done.
And cut to credits.
You little beauty!
I've learned something today. I was unaware that was a thing. So there you go.
Yes, it's my stock Darren Pinch impersonation. No one's going to know who that is. He's a sort of a shock jock in Australia. I think he's a senator or something now.
Okay,
So did you get nominated for any kind of like acting awards for that dialogue, like the voiceover work?
Yeah, of course everyone did. It was just like we had our own awards.
So there's also I did actually write some of the dialogue in the game, but I can't remember what I wrote apart from one line in the cutscene right after that last level. There's a cutscene with a open bush rescue. I can remember one line that I wrote.
I believe you're supposed to mention what it is.
Well,
in any conversation.
Well, okay. So there's a bit where Boss Cass has formed his own country
son. Let me know if you need a hand, okay?
to use diplomatic immunity, which is really just a riff on Lethal Weapon 2, where the whole plot of that story revolves around diplomatic immunity.
That's a ripper of a rabbit.
So that was where we were coming from that. And so the whole thing is Ty just says, you mean it's an immunity community. That's the only thing I remember contributing to the script. I know I did more, but that's the only bit I can remember.
I think Shazza has the perfect line response to that. That stinker. I think she's referring to that line.
It is a game for kids. I mean, come on.
All ages.
The director's cut, the unrated director's cut has far the language.
Yeah, there are some bits that we could never show people that happened during development when we're just mucking around.
Young Ty.
How does everyone feel about alligators in the sewers?
If that was a question for everybody, I'm going to answer it. I struggle with this every time I get lost in the sewers. I'll be honest. I get turned about and I just walk in circles, I'm sure, like 2 or 3 times before I end up finding my way through.
Matters to take care of. Would you take care
Very
of it
cheeky.
for me, mate? Sounds like a dirty job. But I'll give it a go. You little beauty.
So someone just said George's levels is a bit low. I thought,
is that too low?
No, it shouldn't be.
Am I low? Am I low? Is this too low?
No.
Is this cool?
That's cool. It's hard to hear when rangs and trying to break things. I could turn the game audio down a bit.
This is the...
should read better.
One of the earliest pieces of music ever written for a Thai game. Possibly the earliest written specifically for Thai is the music in the sewers here. So before we even got started on Taiwan, when Thai was just an idea.
Which was, in fact, 20-something years ago now?
Yeah, it was in 2000, so it was over 20 years ago.
Christmas 2000, just before Christmas, I started just... I think it was November is the first Thai stuff, and we had the first sit around in the lounge room at Chrome and talk about what we're going to do as a game. Where let's have a Tasmanian tiger as the main character. He could throw boomerangs. It's like, oh yeah, it was one of these things like, oh, that all makes sense. Everyone just agreed straight away. There was no argument, oh, we should have this or that's like, nope, that sounds cool. We should. Everyone just knew. It sort of just clicked straight away. It was really weird. And there's this guy here who's, no, not this guy. That's probably just sewage. This thing standing next to raw sewage. Wait, which one, Steve? That one? Hang on. That's Steve? No,
that's Gubu.
That's Gubu Poodoo, and that's Gubu Steve. I got that camera around real life and play with this shit. That's a very handsome fellow. Are you button out there? Is this Thargomizer in there? Stegosaurus? Obviously, Gubusaurs are closely related to Stegosaurus. Okay, should we talk to him? Get some apples?
Falter down, little orange dinosaur. You're not one of them, are you? No, you're too small and fuzzy. Say, I've got some Gubu juice. Do you want some? You don't look old enough. Tell you what, I do have something you might like. I found them by digging up some google berries. You can have them.
I wonder if Ty's avoiding eye contact.
I think he would be. One thing I said when the guys were writing the dialogue for Scooby Steve said, look, make it really embarrassing and stupid. It's going to be much more funny than if you try and make it like witty and funny. And yeah, I think it works much better just being like, this guy's nuts, but he knows stuff. And then there was a whole thing where we had a running joke where we would talk about, who do you work for? I work for them. Oh, did they hire you? And it was sort of, that would be a running gag that we have at, when we meet up with people at trade shows. So we wrote that into the dialogue for Scooby Steve. We talked about how you're them and they. And then one of the Jared, I think it was, wasn't it? Who's a designer at Ubisoft now. He came up with this great 3-page photo comic thing, like an X-Files. These X-Files photos about how Gooby Steve was talking about the guys who had as the bad guys in the next game, and how was he talking about them? And it was this thing. It's like, nah, we were just having this other joke, but that's really smart. We should use that. And so we stuck a shot of the baddies in a field in Sly Shack. So if you look down, you can see them as a crop circle thing, basically. Yeah, some stuff just comes about really weird in a natural way because you just talk about stuff. It's like, that's funny, we should use it. Oh wait, no, I should say we planned everything out meticulously beforehand and run it through focus groups to make sure it works. That's what we're supposed to say, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we just make stuff up. And
some poor person having to print out an updated game design document, which was this thick piece of paper that no one ever read.
Yeah, I've got the Thai ones here. They're huge. That's not even the game design. That's the functional spec, which just says how menus run between each other and stuff. And no one ever looked at it. Specifically, the lead programmer who asked about, there's no information about this stuff, what Thai does here. I was like, yeah, it's on page 2. You didn't read it, did you? We gave him a lot of us teasing a lot about that at the time. I got a couple more guys to go. I think they're the far side for Aaron. If you get lost, go against the arrows. The arrows always put you back to the start. Well, there's no arrows here, but the yellow arrows, they're always, you go that way, they'll take you back to the beginning of the level.
Thank you. I appreciate the advice. I already have done this mission, to be fair, but like I said, I spent probably a few more minutes than I needed to just running around in circles.
Oh, look, I get lost and I know what I'm doing. Not that I know what I'm doing. It's like, yeah, we'll go that way. I've got 2 more. They're over here. One's down. Ooh, I got the smash rank. Save up, get the smash rank before you do this because there's tons of opals and you'll get a lot of your money back. It's a good place to farm opals. It's Scooby Steve's opal farm. Yeah, opals you need. But not the blue ones. Oh, is there any, I got to ask, anyone got any questions in the chat? Because I'm sort of not paying much attention to it. Occasionally I'll look over, it's like, oh, there's a thing. If anyone's got anything, now's a great time to ask, because we're just going to blabber on about stuff anyway, so you might as well have us talk about stuff you want to know about. Huh? Is that smart or what, huh?
So let me consult my little... I was just going to say, while you feel free to chat on, I'm going to go consult some questions and answers that were, or questions that wanted answers from Kickstarter. So I'll be back. You go ahead.
So how many mouths does Ty have?
1.
See, that's not hard. He's got an overbite.
Look,
problem solved.
What you can't see is the mouth. Yeah, it's basically an overbite. That top lip. If it was in the real world, when he does a bite, he's got 1 mouth. We actually switch heads because what happened was we had it originally so you could open his mouth to do the bite, and it was just like one normal head with all rigged up so it would just open and close like a normal head, and the mouth would be hidden. But the line where the lips sort of join between those 2 sides of the mouth looks terrible, and I never drew it that way in the artwork because it was a stylistic thing. So what we did is we said, let's do a head where it's got mouths on the side, because you usually only ever see one side, is the way it works. So it's like, yeah, you just see the side of his mouth, and animate in that way. So you don't see the bit that goes underneath. And Look, I can show you models where it's got it. It just looks terrible. But yeah, it's the same as having the one eye thing. It's like it's a stylistic thing, and instead of just trying to make it look like a realistic animal, like no, it's cartoony, and that's the look we're going for. It's
well,
whether
I'm pretty sure they walk on 4 legs. They did walk on 4 legs. So come on, it is a video game.
Well, yeah, they don't wear shorts or talk either, or throw sticks, but yeah.
Or have opposable digits in order to be able to grasp anything.
Yep. So there's a lot of we take a lot of little yeah. I was gonna say the other one was the bilbies. I made them have little floating noses, like they actually physically noses aren't attached to their heads. And one of the QA guys really didn't like that. Just like we kept getting notes back saying it breaks the reality of. Actually, it wasn't that one that breaks the reality. It was the floating crates we wanted to put in originally. So we kept getting stuff back. It's like, oh no, it's unbelievable that this stuff would just float. It's like, it's okay. Because the floating platforms originally, I just wanted to have floating platforms like any other video game. People said, no, they can't float. That's not real. So we put put fans in, and it's like, that's fine.
One thing I used to notice when we were making these games is that the people who worked in games don't always play the genre of the game that they're making in their own time. So while they were making a cartoon platformer like Ty, they would probably be playing some MMO. What was it, Dark Age of Camelot or EverQuest?
Or yeah, or shoot 'em up like that. Nowadays,
Battlefield was very big when Ty was being made.
We did have what was the demo of what was the one with the seawall's been reached? What was that, Wolfenstein? The first early Wolfenstein?
I think that was. I wasn't playing that. I think that might have been Castle Wolfenstein.
Yeah, there was a demo level that came out. We were all playing it. And it was this. I just remember the seawall has been breached because you had the one level where you had to actually get the sea, whatever they're called. It was just fun. Yeah, people would not play. So we explain all this sort of. Sorry, I'll slow down. I talk too fast. We were explaining like all the platforming stuff that we'd have. And remember, this is like early 2000s, so even platforming stuff, game rules that you think of, all platform games do this, all this stuff was new to us because it hadn't been done yet. I mean, yes, we had Mario 64, and Banjo, and Spyro, but they were all doing different stuff. Yeah, they hadn't played that stuff, and those the stuff that you think, oh, all platform games do this, they didn't do that just yet. Like so. I've seen reviews saying, "Oh, well, Ty didn't do this, or they should have done that." It's like, yeah, you say that now, but no one knew we didn't know any better to do it the other way at the time. We were trying all this stuff out, and some stuff worked, and sometimes we had time to fix stuff. Some stuff didn't work. Like this original road stuff, before we put the mini map in and the markers, we had the arrow system on the road that had to be put in manually and show you which way to go, and that just never worked. It was like a real pain. So we said, let's scrap that. And put a mini-map in, which pretty sure GTA 3 at that point was using that stuff, and that was pretty big before we did this. And obviously Jak 2. So there was a few games, and because there was this push for an open world stuff. 2000?
GTA 3 did so well. Yeah. Everybody wanted in on that style of game. So, all the publishers wanted everything to be open world.
And we didn't argue because the first version of this wasn't open world. There was an early version of Ty 2 which we'd worked on for about a year, which was basically a reskin of Ty 1. When I say reskin, instead of the portals, we had time traveling portals, like a time travel machine, and you would go to different eras. And that's why you have dinosaurs in this one, because I like the dinosaurs. We spent all that time making them, and that level is like, yeah, we got to keep them. We've already got Tasmanian tigers running around with shorts. So what's the difference?
Yeah, no problem.
Why do I keep going up here? I don't know. I like it up there.
Find a mission.
Yeah, look, and how do I find a mission? I'll go to the mission thing. Where am I?
Rightio. Well, there are a couple of questions that are coming in on the chat.
Coming in hot on the chat.
Hot off the press. That Scottish nerd has asked, although not necessarily directly to do with Ty 2, we'll allow it. It says, what was the motivation to make a 2D game, i.e. the Game Boy version or Ty 4 games? Was there any specific, motivation behind that, or was it just get more Ty out there?
Oh no. Okay, so the 2D games, the GBA ones, they were EA just wanted more. GBA was out and it was quite popular, and they wanted to do some more SKUs, which is a stock keeping unit, which just based another version. We're like, yeah, that's cool, and we worked with Half Brick Studios, who went on to do Fruit Ninja, and they did the GBA version with us, let's say.
Well, they were in the building with us, so yeah.
Yeah. Some of the guys, once they finished that, came to work for us as well. But wait, I don't want to go here. Hang on. Here's another cool thing. So you notice the minimap is not square anymore, but it has the super big mode. So I can find stuff now. So where am I? I'm there, and I want to go to the red thing. Let's see.
And TY4? You wanted to say about TY4?
Oh, I'm getting there. So yeah, we did the GBA one. That was cool. What happened with TY4 is that we had a friend actually it was from EA who worked at Microsoft. It was then at Microsoft. Who was a big TY fan and a good friend of ours. And when they were launching Windows 8, they were looking for a platforming game, not specifically TY, but just something that they could put on, the new Surface tablets. So a platform game that could run a side scroller that could work on a tablet-y thing with tablet controls. And we just suggested we could do TY that way. Because remember, we hadn't done any TY games for quite a while at that point. We thought it'd be not a bad way to bring it back to a new audience. So what we did is it wasn't a very big budget, so we didn't really have enough money to do a full 3D game. Probably like fifth of the budget of this game, say this one. So it wasn't really a lot to do with all the assets and stuff you need for a 3D game. But for us, it was like, okay, we can make a TY game that works for people who've played TY 1, 2, and 3. So there's a lot of callbacks to the previous games. And we decided, we first released it, we dropped the numbering off it, because it was going to be, it was always sort of TY 4 as far as the story goes, and it was going to be called Bush Rescuers, as a kind of semi-sequel to this. But we felt that would alienate people from who hadn't played TY, so we just dropped the numbering from it, which I think some people assumed it was just a remake of TY 1, but it's really, a fourth game. There's tons of new stuff story-wise. It does continue on from TY, all the stuff we had in TY 3. It's like, it sets up the new world stuff. The new world. Sounds really weird when you say it like that. All the stuff that we that has changed and advanced in the TY universe. Like Barramudgee doesn't exist anymore. It's at the bottom of Lake Barramudgee, which is in this game as well. But that boss Cass flooded it, so we could get hydroelectric power to pay for air conditioning for the global warming stuff that's going on. So it's this sort of boss Cass is still being evil. He's got his new island of Casablanca, and he's going to do some really nasty stuff. So that all continues on. You've got So while it's not a direct 3D sequel to this stuff, it's still in our hearts. It's it's TY 4.
You actually turned up.
And what that let us do was we got TY out again. That after we got Blade Kitten on the Steam store at the time, which was hard to do, we then did TY 4 on the Steam store. Once we had that going, it's like, okay, well, now we can do TY 1, 2, and 3. So we started working on that in the background. And that's, people complain about TY 4, but if it wasn't for TY 4, there would be none of this stuff happening now. So it's a long, convoluted story, but small things that you think are meaningless or not really worth anything contribute a lot. The butterfly effect, the butter tie effect.
The butter tie effect.
Oh, God.
I'm so funny. That was a good one.
That hurt. Good.
Helicopter.
And then I guess as well, carrying on from that question, we then do have Miss Breebree21, who asks, will you ever do a new TY game? And I'm assuming the answer is yes. If ever we get the chance, we will do it. No,
never ever. This is it. I'm sick of TY games. I'm never touching them again. No. Oh wait, so that was just reading my notes from Lenny. Yeah, Lenny says never. No, never going to be another TY game. Look, of course we are. That's why we're doing all this stuff, to gain interest in TYs, so that one day we can do a TY 5. I mean, you got to remember, while I've been doing other stuff, there's always like a books full of notes for, this would be cool to put in the TY 5, or there's always conversations like George was talking to me today, so this would be a good gag to put in TY 5. But yeah, we've got stuff, tons of stuff that we want to put into it. It's just like getting a decent budget to do the thing properly, because you don't want it to be cheap looking or
2D.
or 2D, another 2D game. Actually, no, even another 2D game would be hard to do now. One of those things like, yeah, 2D game's gonna be better. And you want to do it, you know, a free-to-play tie game, that sort of thing. You want something that's a good, solid, you know, it's a sequel to this. I really should get some fuel.
MMORPG.
Oh, we have someone new. It's James. Hello, James.
Yeah, James
Hello,
has been quietly sitting in this call for a while. Just as, you know,
You have to-
hasn't popped in, so we better introduce him. James, if you want to give an introduction to yourself, mate, to the people in the chat.
Petrol. Oh, hang on, sorry.
I'm one of the coders on the remaster. I was working with Chrome when TY2 was done, but I only really worked on the engine because I was working on other games.
Only
some work on TY2.
Only the engine. Sorry, only the engine. He made it run on PS2.
Only the PlayStation.
James also did the Crab Merciful Code, which is the best vehicle in any game ever. And I say that not lightly. Yeah. It's like we could.
That was fun.
If we could get that into the earlier games,
that's
awesome.
the main reason I want to. We're going to try and get TY3 going, just so I can revisit the old Crab Merciful.
I have the Crab Merciful edition. We'll just do it. Like cut everything else out. It's just the Crab Merciful running around the overworld. That would be a great game too.
See what cool things we could do to it.
I mean, imagine it now. That's the stuff we could do with current tech. And I'm talking. I should be just trying to get through this level, but I'm not really very smart in doing both. It's kind of hard. So I'll let James talk about stuff. I'm done. Thank God.
Oh God. Yeah. We talk about the remaster.
Yeah, just talking about this like.
See, that level was interesting because that was the one where we found out that half the water was missing. And I think it was half the water was missing in the actual release TY2. So we're looking at all the models going, oh yeah, you guys made that level twice as big, and you didn't make the water twice as big.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff that happens in the HD remaster because it's like running different frame rates.
Sounds like Boss Cass is doing, so be careful.
Yeah, it's when you're doing the remaster and you get a big bug like that, and you're going, did that get released like that? So we'll jump onto the old PS2 version and play through and find out, holy crap,
it did.
In the release.
There's
we can fix that.
A lot of stuff on PS2 that you get away with because of the resolution. Like there's some horrible stuff in some of the models in Taiwan in cutscenes up close. You go, how did we release that? That's terrible. So we had to write this really tricky stuff where, like say on TIE, even for this one, when we read the textures, there was a thing where the mapping on the UV maps, which is how you put the textures on a character, was doing some really weird stuff. They'd cut bits out and the points were all over the place. So James wrote some software that I could change the points and then it would copy the ones from the change points where it just moves the vertices around to the other one so that the model's fixed up. It's like, it's nuts.
Fixing the eye.
Fixing the eye, just the texture mapping on this stuff. It's like, there's all this stuff that because we couldn't actually re-export the models. Because it's a long, convoluted process because the animation.
Do we have all the original models?
We do for TY2. Here's
Some of the original models.
Oh no, TY2 we've got everything, but we couldn't do the animation and stuff easily. So it's like, we did that on TY3 for Sly at that point, but we didn't have it. We did this. TY1 we had no assets, original assets, like the work files. For TY1, it was like we had all the stuff that was in game. We had a batch of textures that were some of the work textures at higher res in Photoshop files. Some, probably about a third, maybe a third. And then, like, so we had for TY1, I had to repaint all the character textures that we wanted to do for cutscenes, and Jared Pullen had to repaint the environment domes to scale them up. But on TY2, we had all that stuff. We actually had that backed up because after 15 years, the backups you do don't always last, and you can't always find the stuff you want. With TY2, we had everything. And then when we were doing TY2, I found, hey, there's a lot of TY1 source files in here as well that got saved. Like, oh, great. This would have been handy like last year. So, yeah, I call it digital archaeology because you're trying to find old stuff and work out, like some of the stuff here, there's like, you'll get one bit of the ground kind of has a Photoshop file in high res, and there's one that's kind of looks a little bit different. It has the same file name as the one that's in the game. So you go to that file and you turn some of the layers on and off. It's like, oh, there's the texture I want. So there's a lot of just like looking backwards and forwards at like hundreds. There's like a couple of thousand files of textures that I had to go through, and you're memorizing stuff to work out what they were, to which ones to put in to get the right stuff.
Bunch of digging, yeah, definitely. Just quickly, we do have an extra person who's just joined the chat as well. We got Damian here, Damian Stewart. If you want to give yourself a little intro, mate, as well.
You have to, Damian. It's the law.
You have to.
Go mute.
If you're gonna be in this call, you got to do it. That's it.
Yes. Yeah, I'm one of the other programmers on the remaster, and back in the day, I also helped make the engine for these games and did a buttload of bug fixing towards the end of each of the titles.
Did you do what?
Say butt fixing.
Butt fixing. Yeah, that was a real broken butt.
Oh no, yeah, you did.
Didn't you do all the saves and stuff originally?
I had a little bit of work on a lot of systems, but mostly towards the end of the game, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of people just doing stuff all over the place in the first couple of games for sure.
Who was the one who had the guy who had the GameCube dev kit? I think one GameCube dev kit on at least the first game. Was that Damian?
No, was that Wiggs?
That might have been Chris, wasn't it? Yeah.
Ah, yeah, that makes sense. The GameCube dev kits. So we got those because we went out one night in Tokyo with a Nintendo guy who's a friend of the CEOs, our CEOs, Robert Walsh, and we went out to this restaurant and they got very drunk and they went out for the rest of the night, as you do at trade shows and stuff. And the next day came back and the guy said, "Yeah, we'll get you some dev kits for the GameCube," and that's how we got our kits at that time. It's like, oh, okay, that works. We went to this like fancy Japanese restaurant in Tokyo where they had it was like a teppanyaki bar, and the guy was cooking. It was a Wagyu steak that was the size of your iPhone, maybe like 2 iPhones stacked, all marbled, and he chopped that up, and that was like. I remember after we came out of the meal, they gave vouchers for like come back, and it's like there's a couple $100 of vouchers here for the meal. How much did that meal cost? Yeah, there's some weird trade stories where you actually get stuff. Like the time... No, I shouldn't say that because that could get someone in trouble. But, yeah.
But the lack of GameCubes on the first game meant that if you had the GameCube version of TY, and I think also a Jimmy Neutron game, that the music didn't loop properly. So when the music got to the end of the track, on PlayStation and Xbox, it would loop seamlessly. You wouldn't notice it, and it would continue. But on the GameCube, it would, I think, fade out and then just restart. So apologies to anybody who played the GameCube version of TY, because if you played some of the levels, I think like the race tracks had very, very short music tracks. So they would do this horrible fade in, fade out thing that people on the other platforms never, ever had to contend with. So we finally got that to sorted by TY2. So TY2 on the GameCube was the first GameCube Chrome game that had the music looping correctly.
Favorite Tasmanian tiger.
Fluffy! I should have known I'd find you here. You're always terrorizing somebody.
A girl's gotta earn a living.
When are you gonna give it up? You know you can do better than Cass.
You really think so?
I know so. He's mean, arrogant, selfish, conceited, and a bully.
So Greg Ellis does the voice of Ty in 2 and 3. And if you've ever seen the Pirates of the Caribbean movie, he's the guy who says that's the best pirate I've ever seen. And I think in the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie, he's the engineer who gets sucked into that platform right at the about.
Yeah, he's the third guy who goes, the red shirt who goes down with them on that mission to that mining thing, where they parachute down, drop down or whatever.
And he's the one who doesn't make it, obviously.
Yeah. He's also in 24, I think, isn't he?
He's in a lot of things.
Got a question that we've picked up from the Kickstarter for you, George.
Yes.
We have Fishcake115. Wanted to know about the sound design for Ty and was interested to know more about how did you make the sounds for the throwing of the boomerangs? How did that come about?
Okay, that's a very simple sound. it's me blowing into a microphone making this sound, shh, taking the recording of that, putting it into a program like SoundForge, and then drawing in SoundForge a pitch envelope so that the pitch would go up and down and up and down and up and down. So then it comes out as...
And there's the magic of game development going out the window now.
So all the sound effects in the game just you blowing into a microphone?
That was just the two rain throws from the first game. A lot of the sound effects from the first TY game are ones that I created from scratch. Whereas once you get to TY 2 and 3, because we were doing a lot more work, it wasn't practical to make every sound from scratch. So we had, by that stage, started investing in off-the-shelf sound libraries. So in TY 2, there are a lot of sounds that are from classic sound effects libraries, and a lot of them in TY 2 are from a Universal Studios sound library, and they are sound effects from the original Battlestar Galactica. So the noise of the Vipers launching in the original Battlestar Galactica, you hear that like, that's the dropships. It's this tick, 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 tick noise when they go flying off. Because I was such a sound design nerd, I didn't want to make the sounds myself. I wanted, now that I had access to these old sounds, I wanted to use those. And there used to be this explosion effect. Sorry?
Did you modify the other ones from the sound library?
Some yes, some no.
No, you're allowed to. Look, we licensed them to use them. We didn't have to do anything other than put them in. But for the remasters, there's a lot of rework done on those. But those old sound libraries had a very good effect, because when we had to make these on PlayStation 2, which only had 2 megabytes of sound memory, those old sound libraries had a sort of very limited dynamic range, but they compressed very well so that they sounded good on PlayStation. Whereas if you got a more modern sound, it didn't sound as good when it was crunchy on PlayStation.
That's very technical.
Well, 2 megabytes does not hold a lot of high quality audio, put it that way. We had more memory on the GameCube and more on the Xbox, the original Xbox. And so those 2 versions of the game had higher quality audio assets. They were the same sound effects, but they weren't compressed as much as the PlayStation version was.
I'll just drop something here. Carlos here was actually originally old Julius when he went forward in time. Because he was like working for Boss Cass at that point because everything had gone to hell. I didn't even bother rechanging his eyebrow color or anything, but we just made him Carlos and called him his uncle. You'll notice he's wearing the same color clothes as Julius wears as well. I know it's lazy, but you got to reuse stuff. People ask about, oh, you're going to put this content in that got cut? It's already in, baby. It's already in.
Bruno's gotten himself into a pickle. He went climbing in Frillneck Forest but got stuck. Now
so Bruno's named after the lead artist on the original version of TY.
Who went on to do, I think he worked on this one as well. He did some stuff early on, and then he went on to work on Spyro, Legend of Spyro. A very, very good technical artist. Like
he's now living in the outback of Tasmania.
He lives in Tasmania now. He's got a property he bought, a farm where he lives with his family, and he's got caves on the farm, and it's really exciting. You get pictures like, I've got caves! So, yeah, caves are cool.
So Bruno is an awesome guy, but he's also a person that, while he was super intelligent, could also be super vague, so it was very easy to fool Bruno.
Yeah. That happened at Santa Monica?
Yeah, and also Bruno had this habit, without realizing, of making very unfortunate shaped rocks. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Well, I'm glad that he moved to Tassie because it's a great place to live. Not bias.
No, not at all. Aaron, where do you live, Aaron? Because all the rest of us are all in Brisbane-ish.
Well, yeah, I was about to say, like, am I the first Tasmanian to be hired at Chrome? or am I one of many?
I think Marcy's from Tasmania originally.
Ah, good. There we go.
And she used to live on Kangaroo Island.
Alone.
No, it's like Tasmania's part of Australia, and even if they miss it on maps,
one that still lives there.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, that's it. Now I've got I do have something come into the chat here from Jay Spix, or sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly, but she said, random question about the 4V. When you drive into circles, sometimes opals appear. Is that an Easter egg?
Yep. Totally is an Easter egg. Brad would have been putting that code in, and it's like, you can do donuts. So I was like, oh, you should get opals for that. Like I said, a lot of stuff that we put in is just because, oh, that seems like fun. Seems like fun. Excuse me, I burped then. We just thought it's cool that you could do this. There you go. Done.
I did not know you could get that.
It's like the fireflies in Taiwan, where you can shoot the fireflies with the ring. If you get enough of them, you'll get a can't remember how many opals you get, or a power-up thing.
And we should point out that when you find a muddy patch on the overworld, that's somewhere you needed to slow the car down so that the game could load on the old consoles.
Yeah, there is a spot in the game where the other thing you would get was a Julius Science Fact pop-up. If I kept up that road going really fast, what I'd do is it would give me a pop-up saying, oh, you could do this. That's just to slow you down for a little bit. There was a lot of stuff where we tried to hide the loading as much as possible. In Tie 3, we did stuff where it was just like you'd have the tie wing fly past. We got better. It's like, oh, let's play an animation there so it doesn't look like you're not doing stuff.
Wasn't it
still pop up? Isn't there still Julius Facts in Tie 3 in the overworld?
Yeah, there's one or two. It's in the far side where you can go really fast and get to the top, the northwest corner is where you'll find one or two of them. Like you get them. If you're going really fast, you'll always get one.
Rob Spear in the chat, it's a Toyota.
We've got 1,000,001 of these, don't worry.
We've been waiting for 16 years to make more Thai puns.
I call this one the Catsmobile, but I always think of this as Joker-mobile.
Oh, no. You guys are terrible. Okay, just a quick 15-minute warning, though, on the end of the stream coming up. So if there are any other questions from people, feel free to drop them in. We've got a couple of programmers here. We've got sound designers and game designers. So, yeah, if you've got any questions relating to that sort of stuff, let us know. We'll fix them up.
You know, there's no way in hell you're going to pull me off this at the moment. If you want to sit around and chat, I'll stick around for a bit longer. I've got nothing else on tonight.
I can stick around. As long as no one spoils Loki, I'm okay.
Oh, Loki dropped tonight. Well, I'll see you guys. I got that. No, it's Wednesday already. Jeez.
Week goes quickly.
I guess I know what I'm doing after this stream.
It's worth watching. I watched it before. I couldn't. I'm not going to say anything, but yeah.
I've seen the first two.
Oh no! Look, this. I will say this show is great. I have no idea where it goes in each episode.
Loki in it?
Oh, somebody's just spoiled it for me. It says Loki was mischievous
Oh,
today.
what? That was.
Oh, I'm not going to watch it now.
He's a mischievous scamp.
He's mischievous.
He's
Are we
never
doing
like
a
that.
remaster of Tie 3 and Tie 4?
Good question.
Don't know.
We don't know yet.
It really here's the honest answer. It comes down to how well Tie 2 sells, because we have to pay you guys. Let's try to do it for free. You know?
I don't think we'd do Tie 4, but I think Tie 3 would finish the collection. And we can do a lot of work on Tie 3, like polishing up the combat and just having some more fun with Truth Merciful. And
again, that comes down to
lots of cool graphic stuff we could do.
There's some stuff that we did already in the PC one, which is available on Steam. If you've got a PC, play it. But it would be lovely to do another one. Sorry, I should be listening to Steve.
I know you like them, so they're all yours.
Oh, yes.
That was you.
There was supposed to be a fart sound in there, and there wasn't. We got a higher rating because it was supposed to be a fart sound. There you go. I should have said that. But yeah, Tie 3, it's all going to come down to what we can afford to do sales-wise. I don't want to get people's hopes up. I'd love to do it. I'd love to fix some of the stuff that we'd already fixed a bunch of stuff previously. But there's other things like I'd like to change if we had the time to do it. Like You know, making some missions not have to do that people don't like. Even though the kart racing we actually fixed up in Tie 3 and Tie 2. We actually used the Tie 3 kart racing because it was so much better than it was originally. I should find one actually. Let me go here instead.
You can go through the main menu, can't you?
I can, but I want to go here now. I don't even know where I am at the moment. I just like going to places. It's Julius.
While you're heading in that direction, let's go down the line of people in this call and answer the question that just came in from that Scottish nerd. He's just asked, what was your favourite parts or parts to work on in Tie 2? So feel free to start us off, Damian.
On the remasters?
Yeah,
remaster, original. You know, what was just your favourite part of working on Tie?
I'll be honest, I can't remember. I can't remember working on the originals. It's a long time ago.
It's all a blur. It's all a blur.
But on the remaster, I think my favourite part was seeing it actually running on the Switch for the first time. I was like, oh, yeah, awesome. Yeah, a lot of work went into getting it going on the Switch there, and it was really satisfying to actually see it working and play it on there, and yeah, it was really fun. So that's probably my favourite part.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, definitely. George, what about yourself, mate?
Well, Tie 2 was a longish project. It was very enjoyable. It was also very hard work because we were doing this and King Arthur and Jimmy Neutron over the same time. So I just remember it being incredibly busy.
So it's safe to say then that your favourite part was when it was done?
No, because then we had to do Tie 3. But,
hey, good work on Tie 2. Let's do another one in half the time.
What about yourself, James? Or do you have more to that, George? Sorry.
No, it's okay. Let James speak.
Was my favourite part on all the ties. I didn't actually work on Tie 2, the original. On the remaster, I do mostly the graphics and engine work, so that's just a lot of that was porting from Tie 1 stuff. Because Tie 1, we added lots of shadows. Yeah. Actually, what did we added? The camera was added on Tie 2. That was actually kind of fun doing the camera.
Yeah, that was
cameraing in the.
That was like this year.
The filters and stuff.
That was only a couple of months ago.
I think it's like when you're doing graphic stuff, anything you can just chuck in your plaf, you can just plaf shaders and get instant feedback on graphical stuff is fun. And then of course Tie 3 is the grab merciful. That was a lot of fun because you're running around and then you're doing platforming and then there's little boat physics and it's all kind of blends in. And there's little robot physics on the legs to grip onto things.
Because you could climb around platforms around to the edge of them, you could flip. So you do this really cool gymnastic stuff.
It's like a little okay on each leg to try and make it look like a spider. And it was kind of like emergent because I don't think we knew exactly it was going to be used that much when we were first doing it.
Yeah, and you had
like it was never planned to be a cat platform. It was just a vehicle, like a substitute for the truck.
It was always going to be it was always going to be a platform. I think that was the thing we did after Tie 2. There was a lot of people complaining there was too much driving, but we tried to get all the bunyips and the crab merciful to all sort of just variations of platforming. It didn't quite work perfectly, but the crab merciful was like you ended up putting in way more stuff to make it even better than we had planned. It was just going to be like you could jump on stuff like it would jump and do things, but it was like
I think it had a jump. But then we sort of got the controls working so you could actually land on
you had all the flips and stuff and the you got forwards and forward flips and back flips and side flips, and you hop in the water and it goes underwater. And it's got the above water. It's got the missiles.
That was the emergent bit because I don't know if all that was sort of spec'd.
No, none of that was
like.
And all
you could drive and go and beat water, and then I was just left to have fun with it.
There was all the stuff you did with
cool.
Ty on that as well, doing all the little emergent stuff where he would like procedural animation where he would lean and rock and do all that stuff on the top as he's piloting it.
Oh yeah, the little screen would come open and close at the appropriate times so that you didn't look like you were getting squashed when you flipped on your head.
But yeah, but I
remember that.
It was a beauty.
Yeah.
You beauty.
Beauty. My favourite of the ties, and just working on the camera stuff. Just filters. I like doing filter work. So the infrarank, the new infrarank filter was fun.
Should get the cheat.
I'll be able to use it from the helicopter.
Oh yeah, this is the music track from
Richard Wagner.
Valkyries. Yes. Because of its use in Apocalypse Now, when they used the helicopters and that, and they would blast out Ride of the Valkyries. So that's why this is the only piece of music it's from someone else. I mean, I played it, but this is the one I didn't write.
There was actually going to be one on Bridge of River Tide that we couldn't get the rights to. So that's a really bizarre story about getting the rights.
Bridge on the River Tide was originally meant to be the Colonel Bogey March, which is used in the movie Bridge over the River Kwai.
But apparently in Australia, there was weird rights with that in Australia that it's like it's not public domain or it's not a cheap one to get a hold of. Where the rest of the world would be fine, but Australia would have been really expensive. So it's like, okay, we can't use that. Because we were doing things the right way. I love what Ken does when he tags the Crocs. Too late. I should have said that earlier.
We tagged all the Crocs. Ty, you're a top bloke.
Ty, mate, I just got an emergency call from Dennis. Apparently he's in real trouble. Get over to him as quick as you can.
I've got a question here, sorry, for Steve, I'd imagine. This is from Seabass97. They wanted to know, after TY 3, Chrome developing a TY 4 Gunyip game, what was the history behind that? If you got any insight on that one.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it?
Never heard of it.
Moving on.
No. So, okay. So after we'd done 3 of these TY games, there was a point where, this is 2005, in 2005 now, platformers were sort of dying off. It was really hard to get publishers interested in them, and to be honest, I was losing interest in just doing a standard platformer. But I wasn't interested. I was still interested in the TY universe. So I came up with this idea, which was probably, I think of it now, I'm glad we didn't get it done, because I think it would have had, the reaction to it would have been terrible. Even if it was a good game, people would not have liked it, because Gunyip took the Gunyip levels from TY 3, which were the air vehicle stuff. They were going to be transformable. It was basically a version of Ace Combat. So it was like an arcadey flight sim shooter where you could fly all around Southern Rivers areas and you'd do these aerial missions. We developed a lot of tech there. We rewrote the engine so we could have lots more enemies on screen. We had all these different range types of enemies. You'd fly the Gunyip would transform. You could upgrade it. It was set up so that it was the most authentic simulation of marsupial air combat ever created. But yeah, you'd fly giant robots around it as a flying rat. There was the one cool thing about it was going to be set up so that Lenny was telling the story of all the stuff that happened. So it was kind of not necessarily part of normal canon. It was going to be like, oh well, yeah, Lenny's telling the story. He's telling lots of big lies. It would start. The joke was it would start off with they were at a wedding, and the whole thing was going to be like, oh, it's Ty and Shaz's wedding. That you think it was going to be Booney and Sheila's wedding. It's like, and then they get called off to action, and they had the missions. They fly off, and they've got to fly around town. There was you had the Gunyip. There were 3 factions in the game, so you could play through all the missions as Bush Rescue. And there was a whole story with Bush Rescue, and there was stuff with the bugs from the future coming back. And once you beat that, then you find out there was actually another story that you could play as one of the other factions, which would be Boss Cass's Cold Bloods. So you play as Boss Cass's team, which would be... what was their vehicle? They had a drone, like Boss Cass had this giant air carrier, like a Star Destroyer thing, and they had their style of Gunyips, which were totally different looking. And then there was the Metal Skull Pirates, who were this third new faction, which was Ginger, who's a fruit bat. It was running this pirate group of pirates, and they were trying to get Boss Cass, and she was trying to get her dad back, and it was just kind of too weird. And yeah, while it was what I grew out of at that point, like 5 or 6 years of doing Thai games. It's like, well, we'll do this and this and this. The gameplay was going pretty good. It was going along really nicely, but what happened? We were working on it for about 3 or 4 months. We rewrote the engine. Came back from Christmas break, because this is after Thai 2 or 3 had just come out. We go break. We had about 4 or 5 months of development. Come back, and then we had a friend who was at LucasArts at the time, and he says, "Would you like to work on a game for LucasArts?" And I'm like, "Oh, sure. Tell us what you got," because didn't know what it was, and there were 2 requests for proposals. One was Star Wars: The Force Unleashed, and the other one was an Indiana Jones game for the Wii, I think. It had a motion control one. And I like both properties a hell of a lot, but I didn't like the design stuff, the way they wanted to go with Indiana Jones. It was this really complicated whip control stuff with the Wii, which wasn't fun whip control. It was kind of like, it was very weird sort of strategy stuff. And the Star Wars one sounded really cool because you got to play as Darth Vader, and the proposal stuff that I had to write for that was the first level where you were playing as Darth Vader attacking the Wookiees. So I had to come up with like that whole the whole first level in the game now, but it was the spec for this is how you play as the Force Unleashed. And then so we go, okay, Star Wars, we'll do Star Wars. And I remember telling Robert that we're going to go after this very aggressively. Those are the exact words I use. And the team was like, okay, well, we're going to stop Thai for a couple of weeks. We'll do a Star Wars demo. We put all the cool stuff that we wanted to see in a Star Wars game. Like we had slicing up trees, lightsabers, really cool force moves that were super powered. You could slice off clone troopers and arms and legs. We had space combat that we knocked together from the Gunyip engine. And the thing that allowed us to do all this stuff in 3 weeks was that we had rewritten the Thai engine from scratch, so we could do all this cool new stuff on PS2. And yeah, so we'd spent some time getting some stuff up and running, and we thought, okay, we'll show it to our friend at LucasArts to see if we're on the right track. I think it was on a Friday, 3 weeks in. We had like another couple of weeks of work we wanted to do on this. And we go to him on the Friday night. Saturday morning, I get a call from Robert. It says, are you free to go to America next week? Because they want to talk to us about doing the game. It's like, so I think we actually left on the Tuesday, and then we had a meeting with them, and we got there, and there's all these monitors in LucasArts, and they were all running our demo of what we wanted for Force Unleashed, and then they showed us stuff they were planning on doing. It's like, wow, we're both imagining exactly the same thing for this game, and then, so that's how we got the gig doing the PlayStation 2 and PSP versions of Force Unleashed while they were doing the next-gen stuff. But that's why Thai Force stopped. I think that was a good thing because A, it was Star Wars, and B, it was not going to be a good Thai, not going to be a well-received Thai game. Thai Gunyip did get a bit of life a little bit later on when the Melbourne team took some of the assets to make a Xbox Live version for a bit. They were trying out stuff, and they had this really awesome HD Gunyip flying around, shooting up. Like it was kind of like a 2D arcade shooter, but all in 3D. It was really amazing, and I wish we had gotten to do more with it. But they got a project gig with, I think, Microsoft. Like we had a project from Microsoft for them to work on, so they switched over the project, which is what happens a lot. You do these cool demos, and then a paying gig comes along, and you have to work on that. Yes, so that's why there is no Thai 4 there. Sorry, no, Thai Gunyip. I never called it Thai 4 Gunyip. It was always Thai Gunyip !
Good exclamation point was important. Look, we'll do one more question, and then we'll probably have to call it for the night. So we've got one here from Ginger Baked. Random question: in the first game's opening cutscene, where was Ty when his whole family was fighting Boss Cass? I guess some people may not necessarily know the kind of origin of that story. So if you want to give us a bit of that, that'd be good.
I was elsewhere.
Done.
It's as simple as that. So here's the deal with the Ty story, the first one. A lot of it is just like, it's, I guess, simple tropes just to set up a story like a almost a fairy tale. So we didn't go into detail of planning how everything worked out because it wasn't important. And like, yeah, that is cheating, but at the same time, it's like we only worry about the stuff that was important to getting the game out. And I don't mean that in a pretentious way. It's like we didn't have a lot of time or money, so it's like, okay, Ty is separated from his parents. That's the orphan trope. Because that makes him like he's got to go looking for something important, and that's family. And then you have that whole Tarzan raised by wild animals, but in this case they're a nice Bilby family. The Bilby family, that was always in there from the start of the game, where it was the raised by Bilbys. And I'll tell you something that I told people a few times, and probably also good it never got in the game, but I always imagined when Ty, the Bilby family, would send Ty out on his mission to find the stuff. It was like the Bilby dad and the mother and stuff, and they're sitting around the kitchen basically. It's like, okay, Ty, but before you go, you have to eat us. Have enough energy. And so basically you would actually be eating Bilbys in the early version Ty. And I imagined that Ty would bite them with the bite, and they would explode into these 3D bone particles. And I don't know why I thought that was cool or good. I'm glad I never really decided to put that in the game, but it was just this weird visual I had in my head from pretty much day one on Ty. But yeah, so Ty is just elsewhere.
That would have definitely increased the age rating on the game.
A little bit, yeah.
That just puts a whole different spin on the whole series. I'm glad.
Well, things changed. It wasn't like I said, there was not a rule book of like, oh, there was 20 years of platforming games since we did Ty. The things that work and people have an idea of what's good and bad, and like you get a Meat Boy style platform. It's all about traversal skills and jumping on and getting the muscle memory in to do the quick jumps and stuff. And you have the collectathons like Ty, where it's all about just going and chill and jumping around and doing stuff. And that really, I think for us it was Spyro and Banjo-Kazooie the biggest influences. I mean, sure, there are elements of Sonic Adventure and a little bit of Mario. Like some of the Mario stuff was. We didn't like the way in Mario 64 you could get 1 star and you had to got kicked out of the level, you had to go back in again, and it was set up differently. We didn't like that. We wanted to actually be able to get the whole lot in one go. But I did like in Mario there was the bug with the air, where if you went underwater and your health meter became the air meter, so when you came back out of the water and your air refilled, you got refilled health. I thought, oh, that's really cool. I like that mechanic. We're going to steal that one. So people think that's a bug in Ty. It's like, nope, that was there on purpose because I didn't want him to drown underwater either. But people said, no, he can't hold his breath forever. That's not realistic. So we had to have this really long time where you could hold your breath underwater, so you didn't have to get your breath all the time, because I thought that was stupid. Yeah.
Well, there you go. That's an interesting way to close off the stream. But we'll have to wind him up now.
We have to
run a little bit over time, but look, we got to do the thing. Yeah, we do. We do need to. So I'd like to, thank everybody for popping in and saying hey, giving your questions, and just kind of being in general hype about the release for Xbox One of TY2, TY2HD, I should say. And thank you to the people in this call, George, James, Damian, and Steve, for popping in and just giving a bit of your insight. It was helpful.
And you, the player.
That's right, exactly.
Thank you.
So
this has been fun. We will be doing. I believe there are more streams to come potentially. I might be misspeaking there, but
look, you know me. I'm always happy to blabber. I'm always happy to blabber on about stuff. We just got to sort out. Cause it's great having the other guys here as well, because they have tons of information. So if we get them in earlier or during the day when they can actually, not in the middle of the night. Oh yeah, it is like 8:45. Okay, yes, sorry. But you can always catch my streams if I get time to do them. Whenever they're on Space Captain Steve's Twitch. I still blabber on about stuff, and I'll probably show you artwork behind the scenes as well. Probably not tonight now, because it is later than I thought it was. But thank you everyone for joining. Yeah, it's
the time yawn. But yeah, no, thanks everybody. This was great. We'll catch you next time. Any other streams that may come up, we'll obviously promote it online through our social channels, which you can follow. And like tonight/today, people can play TY2HD on Xbox One.
Yay!
Thanks, everybody.
Goodbye, everyone. I'm going to turn off now. Night, night.
Bye. Ta-ta.